Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Hubbard Guide on the basics of interviewing. Here in the Hubbard Center, we have put together these presentations that go a little more in depth on specific topics that relate to our office. So let's go ahead and get started. In this guide, we will be going over what to do before, during, and after an interview, including how to prepare, what to wear, how to present yourself, and different questions you may be asked. You never want to walk into an interview without preparing. 9 times out of 10, the interviewer is going to be able to tell whether you did or not. But what does it mean to prepare? Well, we recommend doing the following. First, you'll want to do your research. Research the employer. What industry are they in? What awards or accolades have they received? What is their mission statement? Things like that. Research the person who is interviewing you. What is their position or title? You don't need to know personal details about them, like their childhood dog's name, but knowing what their professional info is at this employer can be very beneficial. Research or study the job description. What does it tell you? What keywords stand out? How can you connect and tie your experiences into it? Next, you want to ask yourself, what qualities set me apart? Making a list of every single thing you've done is really beneficial when asking this because it makes it easier to compare and find similarities in your experiences. Every volunteer experience or organization position, every job, internship, or project, any awards or recognitions, and along with this, a good note to remember is that you didn't have to be paid for something for it to be counted as experience. Third, know the logistics. Where is the interview? What is your point of contact's information? And be sure to have your resume and cover letter on hand. Finally, be sure to practice. The more you practice, the easier and less nerve-wracking the process will be. So that is definitely a big bonus. Although you may not know exactly what you're going to be asked in the interview, there are various questions that are pretty standard, which we will be talking about in a little bit. During an interview, you want to present yourself in the best way you can. One of those ways is by looking professional and clean. The best kind of attire to wear for an interview is business formal, and you definitely do not want to show up in your pajamas or sweatpants. If you're wanting to wear makeup, be sure to keep the colors neutral and don't overdo it. Blue eyeshadow and red lipstick, not what you want to wear during an interview. The best colors to wear are neutral or dark colors such as tan, brown, black, navy blue, maroon, etc. However, adding pops of color through your shoes, a tie, or any other small pieces can help show your personality and uniqueness. There are also things you want to avoid wearing. Strong scents. Some people you talk to may be sensitive to smells, so if you want to wear perfume or cologne, be sure that it's a soft scent. You don't want to smell like a middle schooler who sprayed too much of their fragrance after gym class. Revealing clothing. This one may seem obvious, but revealing clothing can give off a bad impression in a professional setting. If you're wearing a skirt or dress, be sure it's not too short. Usually, credit card length above the knee is a good minimum for length of dress or skirt. If you're wearing a button-up shirt, make sure you button it all the way. Lastly, avoid jewelry or accessories. You don't want your accessories to distract the employer from what you're saying. That is why simple pieces are usually the way to go. Be sure to remember that it is better to be overdressed than underdressed when it comes to interviews. The first few moments of an interview are pivotal in your success with the process. So let's go ahead and go over some things to remember when walking in. First, turn your phone off or leave it behind. You don't want to get a call right in the middle of you answering a question. That is very embarrassing and can be seen as very unprofessional. Arrive 10 to 15 minutes early. This shows that you're trustworthy and punctual. It's also best to plan ahead in terms of arrival. You always want to anticipate a flat tire or a tree in the road just so you have some flex time in case something does happen. Be courteous to everyone you meet. no matter if it's a random person in the building or your interviewer. Greet the interviewer or interviewers with a smile and a firm handshake. You don't want to crush their hand, but you also don't want to have what some would call a noodle arm. Wait until you're offered a chair to sit down. Be prepared to make a little small talk. I know how much some people despise small talk, but it is inevitable during interviews, especially if they're in person. And lastly, present yourself professionally. Sit up straight, speak clearly, don't use curse words, obviously, things like that. All of these tips will help your first impression be a good one. Now, let's dive into behavioral interviewing. What is behavioral interviewing? Well, according to the Massachusetts Institute of Technology, behavioral interviewing is used to objectively measure a potential employee's past behaviors as a predictor of future results. Why do employers use it? Essentially, it's used because past behavior is a way better predictor of future behavior about how you would act in a hypothetical situation than speculation is. A tried and true way to help you stay focused on answering behavioral questions that clearly show how you've handled past situations is the CAR method. CAR is an acronym for context, action, and result. Starting with context, which can also be seen as circumstance. In this step, you'll want to set the stage for the interviewer by providing a brief overview of the situation you will be explaining. For example, while working on the membership committee in my sorority, we were faced with a low membership rate. While working on the membership committee in my sorority is the when, and we were faced with the low membership rate is the what. This gives the interviewer a picture of the problem that you had to solve. Second is action. In this part, you'll share the specific actions you took to resolve the problem. It is likely going to take up the biggest chunk of your response. For instance, to increase our membership, we worked together to come up with a plan to market our sorority to students. We set up a table in front of the student union building, held an informational meeting where we served refreshments, and placed an advertisement in the school newspaper to promote our organization. This example showcases the steps taken to achieve the goal. Finally, result. Connect your accomplishments to the position you are seeking and give a positive result of the actions you took or tell what you learned. At the end of the drive, our creativity and determination paid off. We gained 25 new members, more than the last 5 years combined. As you can see, an important part of this section is to quantify, using data, numbers, or other facts that prove the problem was solved to boost the credibility. Here's the final product with all the steps in the CAR method when answering the question, tell me about a time you solved a problem. While working on the membership committee in my sorority, we were faced with a low membership rate. To increase our membership, we set up a table in front of the student union building, held an informational meeting where we served refreshments, and placed an advertisement in the school newspaper to promote our organization. At the end of our drive, our creativity and determination paid off. We gained 25 new members, more than the last 5 years combined. As mentioned earlier, there are certain questions that are typically very popular in interviews. At least one from this list will most likely be asked, and that is why it's important to prepare your answers to these questions. Some examples include, tell me about yourself. Why are you interested in this position? Tell me your greatest strength and weakness. Walk me through your resume. And the behavioral questions that may start with something like, tell me about a time when you. Be sure to practice answering these questions. If you'd like more common questions that may be asked, you can definitely look up common interview questions in your search engine. There are hundreds of articles and websites that have curated lists, and some of them may even have an example answer that you can tailor to fit your experiences and to better match how you speak. At the end of an interview, You'll have the opportunity to ask questions, and it is very important to do this. Asking questions shows your interest in the position and that you're taking this opportunity seriously. Some solid questions to ask are, how would you describe the company culture? What is the next step in the interview process? What opportunities are there for professional development and growth? Again, you can find more to choose from through articles online. Researching various questions can help you determine what matters most to you in a work environment. Is it growth opportunities, a friendly environment, or maybe something else? After the interview, you're going to want to send a thank you letter. Be sure it's timely and make it personal. Reiterate your interest and how you fit into the role. There should also be one for each person you've been interviewed by. Along with this, there is a big difference between handwriting the letter and emailing the letter. Both can help you stand out significantly, as studies show that less than 15% of people send one in general. However, less than 1% provide a handwritten one nowadays. So handwriting a thank you letter can really boost your uniqueness to the employer. Here I have an example of a good thank you letter. Dear Mr. Smith, thank you for meeting me on January 28th to discuss my qualifications for the marketing internship. After meeting with you and your staff members, I am even more excited about the prospect of joining your team. I especially enjoyed the tour of the facilities. It provided me with insight into the company culture and your dedication to the growth and development of your employees. I believe my communication skills and my past experience with solving complex problems align well with the objects of this position. I am eager to prove myself as an asset to your team and believe that I am capable of playing an instrumental role in your vision for the future of ABC Corporation. Again, thank you for your time, and I look forward to speaking with you again. Sincerely, Jane Butler. As you can tell, it is specific but still brief. It reiterates the interest in the position, along with reiterating why Jane would be a great fit. Lastly, be sure to end your letter with some sort of call to action. For instance, this one states, I look forward to speaking with you again, which is a great example. And that's all I have for today's guide on the basics of interviewing. I hope you found this helpful. If you have any questions or need help, please feel free to contact our office. Thank you.